Shock continues in California tonight. Over the past week, fuel prices in the Golden State have jumped more than 55 cents, reaching historic highs. Now, the average price for a gallon of regular unleaded is at $4.67. That compares to the national average of $3.82. There are reports of thieves going so far as to siphon gas from rental car lots in order to beat prices that are rising so fast. What's the reason prices are so high? Let's ask Robert Bryce, senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute. Robert, it is always a pleasure to see you. What is going on here, mister?
Well, in a word, Jerry, it's balkanization. The problem is that California has a boutique blend of fuel that's unique to California, and there was a refinery outage, and because of that limited pool of gasoline that's only to be used in California, prices are soaring. And the problem is not unique necessarily to California, but it's being hit very hard because of this boutique blend of gasoline.
Well, let's break this down a little bit, starting with the refineries. We had the Torrance refinery power outage, the Richmond refinery that caught on fire and is down. And I read recently that over the last 2 decades, 4 refineries in California have shut down rather than invest in expensive upgrades to comply with regulations. So when you start with a finite number of refineries, 14, which is what I read is what they have in California, and you lose a couple, it's a very big deal.
Well, of course, and this problem, though, Jerry, is why is it recurring now? Is, in a word, very short, it's the Clean Air Act. The EPA has allowed various regions of the country to prescribe specific blends of gasoline, and the problem now is that we have the most balkanized fuel market in the world. We have something on the order of 4 dozen different gasoline blends being sold nationally. By some counts, it's up to 70.
Why is that a problem? Why does it matter? How hard can it be to blend this gas?
Well, because there is a specific blend for California. So now there was a shortage of gasoline in California. There wouldn't be a shortage if that same blend was being used in Oregon, Washington, Utah, Nevada. They could easily import the gasoline that they need. But because of rules that are allowed under the EPA and the Clean Air Act, California is essentially an island to itself when it comes to these specific blends of gasoline. And it could get worse if California goes ahead with the low carbon fuel standard, which it appears that they will.
Well, I was just going to say, you know, if you think there are a lot of regulations now, just wait. Boy, howdy, more are coming. We've got cap and trade that goes into effect in November, and the oil companies have said we're going to pass the increased cost of that right on to consumers. And then there's a low carbon fuel standard in 2015. What is that going to do to prices to people who want to drive a car in the state of California?
Well, it's going to be dramatically more expensive. I just was looking. The Oil Price Information Service, Jerry, has estimated the low carbon fuel standard will likely raise gasoline prices in California by $1. Wow. Diesel prices could be increased by as much as $2. And remember, diesel is used for the delivery of virtually everything we use. So again, another problem in California for their overall economy is this process whereby they're making all forms of energy more expensive.
Does this ripple through to the rest of the country? I'm always wondering about how these problems in California, and goodness knows they've got a lot of trouble out there, how much it hits other people.
Well, that remains to be seen. I think, you know, California, I live in Texas, so, you know, we like to make fun of people in California. But remember, this is one of the big, it's true. It's one of the biggest economies in the world. If memory serves, 9th or 10th largest economies if it were a standalone country. So you're going to see huge economic impacts on California, jobs leaving the state. But of course, it's going to affect the rest of the country because California is a bellwether for the rest of the country. And unfortunately, when it comes to energy policy, what we've seen over the last 4 years are policies that imitate what the Californians have been doing.
Bad idea. Well, Governor Jerry Brown yesterday agreed to allow refineries to make that cheaper winter blend earlier. Is that going to solve the trouble? Does that mean it's over?
Well, no, I don't think it does mean it's over because, again, as you pointed out earlier, there are very few refineries that can meet these boutique blends that are unique to California. And again, you have this really a perfect storm on the horizon with cap and trade and with the low carbon fuel standard. I think this is really just the beginning of problems for the California motor fuel market.
Robert Bryce, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. And anytime you want to make fun of Californians, just call me right up.
Thanks, Jerry.